Welcome to What's Carol Cooking, and today I am very excited to announce that we are at episode 10. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for me it absolutely is. And today I'm going to be making pulled pork, which is delicious. It's slow cooked, so it's going to take 24 hours to make it, but I promise it is going to be worth it at the end. The recipe can also be found in my cookbook, Carol's Kitchen Capers, but I'm going to take you through the whole process so you can watch how it's done. First, I'm going to make the rub for the pulled pork. Now, the recipe says that we need 4 tablespoons of ground chili powder. I forgot to buy some chili powder, so I'm going to use some chili flakes, and the chili powder makes it quite spicy and I don't want it to be very spicy this time, so I'm only going to use 2 tablespoons instead of the 4 tablespoons of chili flakes. I'm going to use a tablespoon of salt, and I've got this pink salt which we bought in Bolivia at the Salt Flakes. I'm also going to put in a tablespoon of brown sugar. It's a bit of a heaped tablespoon. Then I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of cumin, ground cumin. It's really hard to do these. As you can see, I like to throw it in freely. 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, that adds to the spice. 1 teaspoon of oregano, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm just going to mix all of that together, and it smells great. And there we have a rub. I have 1.1 kilo of the pork shoulder, which is boneless. I've removed the packaging and I've washed it, and now it is ready for the rub. Now I'm going to rub these beautiful spices onto the meat and get it into all the nooks and crannies. So now that the rub is on the meat, you need to cover it and put it into the fridge for a minimum of an hour, but it is so much better if you marinate it overnight. So I'm going to be marinating it overnight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, welcome back. The pork has been in the fridge overnight and looking really good. So now we're going to start cooking it. So we'll turn the stove on to high and pour in some canola oil or vegetable oil. Let that heat up a little bit, and then we're going to sear the pork. The oil is nice and hot, and so now I'm going to sear the pork. Okay, now I'm going to remove the pork from the pot. I've peeled an onion. I'm going to pop that in there. And I've got about 10 cloves, which I will put in there as well. And we're going to put the pork back in, skin side down, on top of the onion. And then I'm going to pour in the apple cider. So adding this apple cider to the mixture, and then we're going to bring it to the boil. And once it is boiling, I'm going to put the lid on, and we're going to cook it on very low heat for 2 hours. And after the 2 hours on the stove, I'm going to put it into the oven at 150 degrees Celsius for another 2 hours, and it'll be beautiful and tender. So the pork has been cooking for 4 hours, 2 hours on the stove top and 2 hours in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius, and it is looking good and tender. And now I'm going to take it out of the pot and pop it into this dish. So I'm going to remove the fat from the pork because we don't need that fat. And then I'm going to take that and put that into that dish. And I've got another piece broke off because it's so tender. Take a little bit of the onion. So take 2 forks and we're going to pull it apart. As you can see, that is so tender. It just falls apart. Oh, and it smells amazing. This is what makes it the pulled pork. Oh, look at that. Oh, so tender. Oh, it looks delicious. Okay, I'm going to have a little taste. Oh, it's very hot. Not too spicy because I only put in half the chili, which is good. Oh, it's got a bit of a kick to it. And there you have it, pulled pork, ready to be plated. Time to plate. So I've got a bun, which I'm going to put some butter on. Then I'm going to take some of the pulled pork, put that on there, put lots of it on. Now, of course, you've got lots of liquid left, and you can add spoonfuls of the liquid to the meat as well in the plate, and you can sit in that while you keep it for a day or two. Then I'm going to add this coleslaw that I made earlier to the top. It will just add some great flavor to it. And turn it over, and time for a taste. The coleslaw is crunchy and cold. That beautiful salad dressing, and the pork has got a bit of a kick to it, not too much. It is so tender. The meat is melting in my mouth. Just delicious. Highly recommend you try this. I know it takes a long time, but it's totally worth the wait. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.